Hello everyone, and welcome to this slow bundle unpacking for Ixalan, where I just wanted to do an extra stream that is outside the streams I usually do for each set, because we reached 100 online friends, we reached 100 subscribers, and it was a goal I set, and only now do I realize that, well, not only now, but just a few weeks back, I realized that, well, it's a little bit weird to set a goal on, well, reaching a certain amount of subscribers, but we did it, so now we're going to pull through. And, well, yeah, of course, right now I am thinking about how to make my goals a little bit more fun. A little bit more like we can, well, make them together and reach them together with the people that are here right now, not just the people that are new, because that shouldn't be a goal, or at least I don't want that to be a goal. Also change this up so that we are right here today, so that's a little bit different. It will look good in a little bit, it's just not that good for boxes right now. So, but yeah, let's open it up. And I did do a little bit of cheating by opening it up a little already. You cannot really do anything with. We have the actual box that you will use, and the Ixalan one, apparently, I did not notice, but it has a nice player guide, which is cool, and it's pretty thick. Well, we have a lot to go through if we want to read this, but maybe we can do that later when I set up a little bit differently. But River Heralds, all the things in here, that's pretty cool. I didn't even notice. Brazen Coalition, who is Jace, who is Fresca, who is Wadley. That's pretty cool, but not really something that I can truly show right here, because I haven't set up for that. But we will do that later, that should be fun. Then of course we have this, we have this, well, the background here, should be cool to use. Can't see that for the life of it, but okay. We have the lands, which are just a whole bunch of the lands. I don't know if these are with Jace on them. Don't think so. But let's open these up to show you that these are just lands. So I think this might be the moment to put this here, because we have this Swampy Swamp. I don't think it is with the Jace walking on it, right? No, don't think so. We have the mountain from Christian Choi. We have from Raoul Vitale, we have a beautiful sort of merfolk forest. That is something to look forward to. From the same artist we have this farming lands plains. Then we have this coast that where I do see Jace actually. It is from Titus Lunter, where we do see Jace. We see him walking here, all the way in the back, on the other side of the beach. I think we have different lands, don't we? Yeah, we do. That's cool. We have a swamp with sort of the Fresca vibes. So that is also cool that we see a sort of, well, something where she would like to be as well. We have this mountain that is sort of with a landslide from Minyum. Minyum? Not sure. So we continue the fourth cycle from Titus Lunter, where we do see Jace again. The same goes for this plains, where we see him standing, looking at this landscape. So that is cool. Minyam again with well, a beautiful island that is not really an island, it's more like a cove here. We have the Titus Lunter Jace Swamp, where he's wading through a swamp. And I think, yeah, this is Jace again on a mountain, looking like he's looking at some dinosaur-like environment. We have another forest. There are a lot of different... Yeah, there are a lot of different lands here. Man, that's a lot. But so, like I said, we have from Christine Choi, we have this forest, which is another temple, I think, from her. So maybe that was her theme. I never really noticed that. But Min Yum again did more of the natural landscape here with another plains, where you can see, well, again the same green like the mountain had. So maybe that is one theme that he is throwing in. Christine with a boat going through sort of a cave, like also the exploring vibe still, so that's cool too. Min Yum again with the sort of natural environment, this time just a plant, which is cool to see on a swamp. We have Raoul again. I have not really noticed a theme here, but we see a little bit of a temple. They almost don't fit anymore. That's how many different kinds of lands we got in here, and that's pretty cool. We don't have that in the newer ones anymore. But I think it's 3 more. So from me, from Yum again, again with the greens, the same greens, and this time it's in the forest, so it's thematical as well. We have from Christine another more, well, setting piece, I think I would call it, and this one seems to be more like the vampire coastal theme that we have here. And then from Raoul again, another island. And that was it for the different kinds of lands. I will go through them to see if I missed anything, but I think that was it for the different kinds. Yes. So those are the lands. One moment. Alright, sorry. Also put the music a little bit louder just now. Not now because it's out, but the music is still louder. So yeah, those were the lands. And I like that there are like 4 cycles. Is that true? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cycles. That's a lot of cycles of land. So yeah, cool that we got so many different ones. And I appreciate that. So we have, I think, no, not as always, because now usually we do set boosters, but now we have draft boosters, of course, and these come with 10. So we do need to schedule this a little bit differently, especially if we want to look through the book as well that we got. We might need to schedule this very differently. We have a reference book, which is cool, but not really anything new in those usually. But there are people that seem to gather these things. So what you see here is like how you cast spells and you have to tap mana, how a turn goes. So maybe if someone is interested in that, I've heard that some people were looking for like the older ones at least. So maybe that's something that will be important later. But I'm thinking let's do like 4, maybe even 5, depending on how feisty we get, and then like 3 and then 2. There's not really a good way to do this. Or we do like 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe that is a good way to do things, because then we have sort of like the increasing amount of breaks in between, and that's always a good thing, because of course we need to think about ourselves. And just as I say that, I take a sip of water, because that's really important. And I keep repeating it, mostly for myself, but also for you. So let's open the first pack right here. Oh, and these are so different from the ones we get now, the packs. They open so much easier. And, well, it's a difference in quality, but also I prefer it, actually. Let's see here. We have, as our first card, we have Nest Robber, which is a 2-mana 2-1 with haste. And we need to get back a little bit into a previous set, so this will be different, of course. Let's just adjust this so that it is slightly more straight, at least. But it has haste, and we can see already in the world of Ixalan there are dinosaurs. So this is our first dinosaur that we see, one of the 4 main tribes. These sailors on our shores are like the dinosaurs that plunder eggs from nests. They live on the labor of others, says Ixalan the Crested. Ixalan the Crested. So a 2-1 with haste, you can imagine that that is mostly used for more like an aggressive deck. Maybe the red-white archetype that is fast in the Ixalan, so that's mostly what this one is for. We have Shining Aerosol, which is a flying 3/4, which you should really like in draft, definitely. Which says, the invaders cloak themselves in the shadows of dusk. Aerosaurs hide in the brilliance of the noonday sun. From Caparocti, Sunborn. These are really hard to pronounce for me, but okay. A 5-mana 3/4 with flying is hard to defeat, like it's hard to remove in that way by dealing damage at least. And then it gets in for 3 every turn, and we know how strong that is from the newer sets that we see, so definitely something in draft that is cool. And mostly setting up the world for something that is mostly a dinosaur world, or so it should be. But here we have, the people of Ixalan that live there right now sort of think it should be. We have Deadeye Tormentor, which is a 3-mana human pirate with Raid, which is the mechanic that most of the pirates use. What it says is, when it enters the battlefield, if you attack with a creature this turn, so you don't have to have damaged your opponent, which makes it stronger than the vampires of right now. Target opponent discards a card. So not that much of an upside on a 3-mana card. We have some stronger versions of it right now in draft as well, so not really the strength that is important. But we see here the second tribe that is on Ixalan, which are pirates. And this one says, despite their noble heritage, the pirates of the Deadeye fleet are known for underhanded tactics and despicable trickery. So we get to see that pirates are tricky. We see it in the first flavor that we saw from the stealing dinosaur as well, that people just think of these pirates as people that steal from others that have worked way harder for what they get. So that is mostly how the pirates are seen, sort of shunned. And here we see some goblins that work together with the pirates, but are not necessarily loyal to them. This 3-mana 1/1 can let you discard and draw a card every turn, so you just have to tap it, but your opponent can very easily remove this, so that is a dangerous creature, as a goblin should be. Goblins' eager curiosity leads them to scavenging, petty theft, and the rigging of sleek pirate ships. Some stop at scavenging, but most don't, I assume. But we can see that these guys definitely aren't loyal to the pirates, as I previously assumed. These guys also destroy the ships of the pirates just to loot them, so they are not really siding with them. They should be, but they are not. As pirates do, we have Shipwreck Looter, which is another pirate. A little bit of a theme here. It is not a set booster, so these don't have themes in them. But this is a 2-mana 2/1, so a little bit of the aggressive side again. And this has Raid. You may draw and discard, so you may loot again. So a lot of pirates that are looting right here. But that is what they do. They steal from others. One pirate's wreck is another's reward. So these two guys, the rummaging goblins and these shipwreck looters, work really well together flavorfully, because they like other ships to be destroyed and the goblins destroy them and then they take the loot with them. So that's cool. They loot and they also loot in the flavor. Back to dinosaurs, we have Ixalan's Keeper, a 2-mana 2/2, where you can sacrifice it and target creature gets +5/+5 and trample onto end of turn, which seems like a lot on something that is already a bear, but you need to pay 8 for it, so that's a lot of mana. But then it becomes, well, a really strong finisher if you can pay that mana. The people of the Sun Empire worship the sun in 3 aspects. Ixalan is the verdant sun, so the green sun, who fosters growth in all things. Okay, so this one is just showing one of the aspects of the dinosaur people. Let's call them that for now until we see a different name. But I'll just say it. The Sun Empire, exists of a people that like to fight, but they also like to nurture, and we see that here in a beautiful manner, I would say. Art from Jake Hurwitz, and I think it is a beautiful type of art where we see that green is usually the color that cares for other creatures, and we see a keeper caring for their dinosaur, and that is something that they don't have to do, but they chose to live this way, and I think that should be likable for whatever reason that is, and we do know what the reason is, but for whatever reason it is. We have another sort of vanilla type of card, like the first one, this time a long dinosaur. His name is Grazing Whiptail. It says, often bound browsing in the upper canopies of Ixalan's jungles. Whiptails are known to absently bat away anything foolish enough to interrupt their meal. Well, slapped a bird down to the ground with its whiptail. And that is why it got its name, because it whips birds with its tails. One tail, I believe. Art from Gabor Sixai. And then we have Demystify, a 1-mana instant, a 1 white mana instant that destroys a target enchantment. So it's really specific, and that's how we, see white usually. And we do see someone from the Sun Empire, but this time we see in the flavor that it is actually about the River Heralds. The River Heralds carve spells into jade, hoping to steer us from our course. But what right do they have to keep us from that which once was ours? Well, so we see a little bit of history here. And the history is that the Sun Empire believes that they were there first. But I know that folk or the River Heralds were there. But also when it ends the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So we have seen this one a lot, mostly because in Ixalan the black archetypes are really strong. And this is a vampire, so it works like with the other vampires. But it also works very well with the pirates, and this one is sort of flying around ships, so that is a little bit thematic at least. The flavor says, from the perpetual shadow smoke that hung above the ship, a silent form emerged, lips curled with malice and anticipation. So a little bit dangerous, this boy, and we see them attacking another pirate. We see what kind of weapon they use as well, another sort of whip weapon. And they didn't learn this from the dinosaur whiptail, so they sort of practiced this themselves. And apparently using a whip is really an advantage on this world. I would not have said that, but maybe it's mostly the flyers that this works well against. And this one is from Thomas Chietrusek. We have Demolish with art from Jesper Ising. And this 4-mana sorcery lets you destroy target artifact, which seems expensive, but also a land that usually costs 4 mana right now. The flavor says, What took months for human hands to carve took just seconds for the dinosaurs to ruin. So another tail thing. But apparently this dinosaur can destroy the land with its tail, so it should be pretty... Yellow for white, the red for red, and sort of the green for the green creature. So I like that as well. And because they are the Sun Empire, the dinosaurs also are sort of colored after the sun in a way. Not sure when the sun is green, but apparently, well, it doesn't look green to us, at least, I think. Never seen that before, personally, but maybe that's my fault. We have Sentinel Zodium, which is an artifact where you can, play it for 1 and then scry 1, and we can see that Sentinel Totem is sort of, one of the jade weapons that the merfolk or the river heralds use. And it's a little bit of world building in that way. You can also tap it to exile the totem and exile all cards from all graveyards, so also yours. But that is good against black decks, so that really helps your merfolk deck defeat them. So in this format, this was a pretty strong inclusion, a pretty nice pick to take if you are outside the black colors. So a little bit of a balancing thing here. Then we have Lightning Rig Crew, which is another pirate thing where the goblin is actually a pirate this time, so they should not be stealing from them at this moment. But what goblins also like to do is deal damage to each opponent, this time with 1 damage per tap session. This one is a defensive goblin as well, but that is because it is a crew that is mostly focused on blasting your opponents. And then whenever you cast a pirate spell, so also creatures, you may untap the lightning crew. So you want to play a lot of pirates, and then you can deal damage every time a pirate enters. Or if you have an instant or sorcery pirate spell, but I don't think those really exist. But that is a possibility to make, probably. People can break anything. And here we start, here we have our second uncommon, and I think I remember this one, Call to the Feast. It's a 4-mana pirate vampire colored spell that makes 3 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. And I think I remember it because I thought, whoa, that's a pretty cool card that it makes 3 tokens. I've never really seen that before. At this rate at least. So for 4 mana, 3 1/1 vampire is not really the strongest, but if you can increase their powers, that becomes a really strong thing. And if you can use these tokens, this might be even an inclusion in some real decks. So art from Yongye Choi, which we do see a lot of. And then the flavors say, by the laws of church and crown, vampires feed only on the blood of the guilty, those declared heretics, rebels, or enemies of war. So the guilty, and of course the vampires choose who is guilty, so it's a good thing that they kind of choose to be looking for things that are good to them, but they are also very judgmental, and they are the ones that choose their laws, so eventually they are just vampires. And then we have our rare already. Did not think it would be that soon, but maybe it's because the pack is sorted differently. But here we have our first real merfolk that we see. It's Herald of Secret Streams. So the merfolk, like I said, know these lands the best, and mostly the rivers of this continent of Ixalan. And there are a lot of secret streams under the water, and that is why these merfolk can travel around so fast. And they also were the first to reach the Golden City because they knew where it was, mostly. But this is basically a sort of merfolk lord because the merfolk like to distribute around +1 counters. And this one says, creatures you control with +1 counters on them cannot be blocked. So really good if you have a +1 counter deck, and I will definitely use this one. You might as well try to stop the waterfall, because you can't stop this one, because, well, the water flows around your fingers if you try to stop the waterfall. Some learning moments with me. We have the island. Of course, we have seen them all already, so skip past this. And then we have a treasure token. So treasures mostly used by, well, pirates, but some other tribes I think use them as well, but I think mostly pirates. And the treasure, if you don't know what it does, it comes in, you can tap it once to sacrifice it, make a mana of any color, and then, well, then nothing. Sacrifice it. So that was this first pack. Definitely cool to get into this set again, because, well, I like the set, and I wasn't doing videos yet while this pack was out, but I did play a lot of it, and yeah, therefore I think it's cool, mostly to me, that, well, to look at these cards again and truly look at the flavor as well. I think that's really, really what I like about it. So straight into pack 2. Let's start with the token and the land, because the land we have seen already. So the land is from Raoul Vitale, and we have seen this before, the farmlands. And I think it is important to see lands like these, because, well, we see a lot of exploration, we see them mostly running through jungles and stuff, and secret cities and secret streams. But there are also always just lands that are for farming. People need food, so these are not... if you have a big society, you definitely have farmlands, or at least that's how we know life to be. Here we have our merfolk token, so first token of the tribes. The cool thing about this token is it's just a 1/1, but it has hexproof, so you can truly use this to put the +1 counters that the merfolk like so much on it, and well, you should get a lot of advantage from it, because your opponents can't really remove the boy. Definitely not with this, because this is Legion's Judgment, a vampire kind of removal that only lets you destroy 4 power or greater cards or creatures, and that is why, well, this can be so cheaply costed for white at least. So that's the drawback for this just being a murder. Well, it was a start at white getting removal, and I like that a lot. My lance was once wielded by Venerable Therion. In his name and by his might, I cast you down. And so we can see the sort of extra flavor of the vampires, where they have a lot of history. They live on another continent usually, and now they are sort of invading the Sun Empire. And, well, they are sort of pompous, or so they feel like, but that's just because they think they are the right people. They think they are the ones that decide who gets cast down, and so they think they are right in doing so. And that's why it's a Legion's Judgment. And I think I like these kinds of cards, because they sort of balance white again, and that is something that we need. Of course, there are not only dangerous dinosaurs, we also have this insect from Aaron Miller, which is just a 1/1, you might say, or a 1-mana creature, you might say, but the fact that for 1 black mana you can give this Death Touch anytime makes this a great blocker that your opponents have to work around if you keep 1 black mana open. So you might say that's a big drawback, having to let to keep 1 mana open, but I would say, well, it's almost better this way for you, because it's sort of something you could do, but not really, so it confuses your opponent. I think that's what I want to say. The flavor says, It flows like water over the forest floor, as deadly as the swiftest current. So that's a sort of a maybe a pirate vibe, but yeah, apparently people should be afraid of the sea on this world. Then from State's House Shen, we have Fathom Fleet Firebrand, a pirate. That's a 2-mana 2/2, and then it's a Firebrand, so it sort of has the fire breathing ability of you being able to pay 2 mana to give this +1/+0. So that's not great, but it is again this sort of activation, scary stuff that, well, you should like. And then her flavor says, as she charges into battle, her arcane tattoos stir and crawl like fairy serpents. So it's not really that she has sort of, well, magical powers herself. It's the magical tattoos that are sort of runes. So that's cool too, I think. That's extra cool that it is a tattoo that lets her sort of be fiery about it. Then we have another vampire from Darken. Or Darken, I'm not sure. It's a 2-mana vampire this time. And it's a 1/3, which might not seem like the most amazing. And it is not. It is flying, which is still not the most amazing. And it really is not. Vampires call the gift of flight exaltation. For their enemies, it brings only sorrow. So I don't know what exaltation is actually. But yeah, apparently you should be afraid of flying vampires. And I think we already knew this deep in our hearts. We have here another merfolk that also has flying, from Yongei Chao again. It's Shaper Apprentice, and this one is not so pompous about them being able to fly, so maybe that's a better thing. And they are better anyways, because they do need another merfolk. Merfolk often need more of themselves to be strong. But then it's a 2/1 flyer, and that's way better than a 1/2 flyer. 1/3 flyer. Well, they don't win in a fight, but it's more usable if they are not against that other vampire. And then it says, the river heralds would wreck 1,000 ships to keep intruders from finding the golden city. So that is what it says. And here we can see again that they are really hammering home that the merfolk are trying to stop other people from finding the golden city. And even though they were the first ones to enter it, that's just because they had someone that was, sort of a rebel, in a sense. Here we have a beautiful card, I think, from Noah Bradley. And I have not seen a lot of new art from Noah these times, but this sort of dinosaur clearing that we see is really amazing to me. That, it would be amazing to make such a piece, because it speaks so much to your imagination. What the card does, it enchants a land, and then you can add 2 mana of any one color to your mana pool, and you may put a +1 counter on one other creature. So you can do this on dinosaurs, which would be more thematic with the card, but you can also use it with merfolk that really like the +1 counters. Otherwise, getting extra ramp is something that the dinosaur people like a lot. So definitely use this card, I guess, if you are drafting Ixalan again, because you could. We have another dinosaur card here with Trash of Raptors from Jonathan Crow, which is a 4-mana 3/3, which is, well, again, not something you would use usually. But this one also likes to work together with other dinosaurs, and this one says it gets +2/+0, which makes it a 5/3, which is a lot. Then the flavor says, they glide through the undergrowth, drawn to sounds of disturbance. They attack in unison, and all share in the kill, and then they move on. You can see how these dinosaurs are really moving through the forests and never really stopping. We have Crushing Canopy, which is sort of the whiptail, now that I see it like this. Really looks like the same bird. But maybe that's because, it is, but maybe it's because all birds look alike. Destroy target creature with flying or destroy target enchantment. That is really the Crushing Canopy classic right here. But the flavor is often different. And here we have the Shaper, so it's a merfolk dude. Do not mistake your low-fee vantage point for safety. Lofty. Yeah, it is a dinosaur. I thought for a moment that it might have been a pirate, but it is a dinosaur, in fact. And look at this very well, and then look at the whiptail, and then I think these are almost like the same birds, right? Seem the same to me. We have Sky March Bloodletter again, which we have seen before. And here we have really one of my favorite cards, honestly, to use. And I have forced this a lot. It is Dive Down. And you might say, why is that your favorite card? I don't know. I just liked playing with it, and how many times I could use this to stop a removal from my opponents when I really had a... Sorry, gotta clean you a little bit. When I really had a creature that I wanted to stay on the battlefield. So it felt like a big blowout that way. Yeah. We met a manatee. Maybe better. Wait, maybe if we do it even more. Is it better? I think so. Seeing the river is not the same as seeing the fish. Merfolk are fish, after all. Here we have a cool one from Jonas the Roe, which is Trove of Temptation. And Trove of Temptation is a 4-mana enchantment, which I mostly get watering lips from seeing 4-mana enchantments. They are usually very good. And playable, because 4 mana is okay, something that's okay, and it's not too dangerous to play an enchantment yet. Each opponent must attack you or a planeswalker you control with at least one creature each combat if able. That is really dangerous. But if you are a combat-centered deck that likes to fight, then this is really good. And then at the beginning of your end step, create a colorless treasure artifact token with, well, you create a treasure. So that is sort of the dangerous part, or the payback for it. But if you like being attacked, let's say you are in like the Naya, sort of deck that, likes to goad other creatures and get something out of that, then this is a really good card, I would say, for you, because you also ran with the red card, even though you probably play green in goat decks as well. But if you're a mono red goat deck, you probably shouldn't. But you can, and this makes it better. Verdant Rebirth from Josu Hernais, which is a beautiful moment, I would say. It is a 2-mana instant where we see, two merfolk hugging each other, and one is more like the forest creature and one is more like the merfolk creature. The dryads, which is the forest creature of the forest, have no stake in Ixalan's conflict, but they have to use... they hate to see any living being suffer. So that is why they help them. And then what it does is, until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to its owner's hand, sort of saving the creature, and then draw a card. It's mostly about story here for me, because, the merfolk try to defend the lands and they fight for it. The dryads don't really fight, but they still don't like to see their friends suffer, and I think I like that they are really helping the merfolk here. They shouldn't really help well, maybe they should help a dinosaur, but not really a vampire, because they are not living anymore. But maybe they don't see it that way. Here we have a really strong thing in standard for a very long time, which is a Danto Vanguard, where it's cool to jump into this a little bit. Well, what we see here is that it is attacking a dinosaur. That's the most striking part about this card, I would say. And the second most striking thing about the card is just the light that is coming in like that. And that the vampire is sort of staying out of the light as well, which is good for them. What it does, it's a 2-mana 1/1, and you might say, why would you play that in standard? But usually they have a plus side. It gets +2/+0 when it's attacking. Still not the best, but then you can pay 4 life, which seems like a lot, but it makes it indestructible and very hard to block. So you usually can get in for the first 3 turns with this 3-power creature, and that is a strong thing to do. And then again, from Raymond Swanland this time, we have a 2-mana rare that is a merfolk, which I am not mad at all. This one, Deeproot Champion, says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1 counter on it. We have seen this lately on Strixhaven as well, and then the card had a lot of upside next to it. But this was usually used to, well, play with merfolks that like merfolks and the +1 counter, so it was a double synergy, and double synergies in your deck are always a good thing. In this case, I wouldn't use it outside of there, because there are so many cards that do the same, but better. Like the Dragon Guard thing from Strixhaven had, well, a non-creature spell, yes, but also copies of instants and sorcery mostly. And then they could double their own +1 counters, which was the best part about it, I think. No good will come from what you seek. Turn back now or suffer an ignoble death far from your home. So we can see that they, well, maybe they are talking to the Sun Empire actually, because well, they are not at in their own home either, but they have made it their home, so probably not. They're probably talking with vampires or maybe pirates, but probably vampires. So we can see that they really have a hating relationship towards each other. But cool, I like that we have gotten 2 rare merfolk. They were my favorite tribe and vibe, of course, as well. Had to toggle a little bit with the sound. Oh, YouTube is not getting enough information for me. Okay, should be sort of back again, maybe. I hope. So, again, this time we have the pirate token, where it does not have the hexproof. Pirates don't really care about their friends surviving. They mostly care about attacking. So that is why they are menacing. That is why they like to be scary. They like to scare their opponents. And that is why it is not protected. So that is the token for pirates. And you can see that they are trying to menace their opponent. Another sort of favorite for me, you can see I really like the 1-mana blue instance, is Opt. And it is one that has been around for a long time, I know that. And it just scries 1 and then draws you 1. But I think it's so nice to have these in drafts, because, and they're like consider for the same reason, because, well, if you are stuck on lands a little bit, but you only, let's say you are playing a blue-green deck, and you only have 2 blue mana, and you really need the green land, then you can use this. But if you use this later, to sort of make your hand kind of good and keep greedier hands, which was my biggest mistake. But if you use this later, it is still good. It's still a cycling card, and that is really underrated in my opinion. We have a foil actually from Crushing Canopy, which we have seen before. but this does look really cool. You can see that it's foil a little bit here as well. Well, you could see it already. I now noticed. We have Run Aground, which is a sort of merfolk spell. It's not really. Put target, artifact, or creature on top of its own as library. So a little bit worse than on the bottom. Because they will get them back, but still it's okay. And it really shows your opponent down. And they don't draw an extra card next turn that they wouldn't have had. What it says is, that's the first time I've seen the ground do the running. Run aground. So the water... Oh, the ground's running from the water? Is that what it says? Okay. I've never seen ground running either. We have a land with a boat on it from Rob Alexander. And it is a sort of... well, it seems colorless. And so it should be. This one is a colorless land usually. But we can see in the background that there is a bit of color. For 1 mana you may add 1 mana of any color to your sort of just mana. Just imagine what's waiting around the band. Adventure, discovery, riches for the taking. This is why I sail, says Captain Lannery Storm, who we have had in Modern, I think, as well. And here we see someone that looks a lot like another legendary pirate, but really is not. It's from Ben Meyer, and it is Siren's Ruse. They are a siren pirate, the legendary that I am thinking of. I don't quite remember the name right now. But what does it do? For 2 mana you may exile target creature you control and then return it to the battlefield. So it blinks it, and that is why it's sort of the Siren's Ruse. It's protecting itself or a friend from this arrow. And then you may, if a pirate was exiled this way, you may draw a card. So you put it back, maybe do another raid activation with it, and then you may also perhaps draw a card if it was a pirate that you protected. Deception and misdirection are the heart of the pirate's arsenal, and definitely for the sirens, and definitely for the goblins as well. But for most pirates, I think the main arsenal is guns and stuff. And swashbuckling from, sorry, Josu Hernais again. It's enchant target creature, or enchant creature. It gets +2/+2 and haste. So play it together with a pirate, play this on it, and it gets in for maybe like a 4/4 that it is. Then the pirates of the Brazen Coalition are descendants of those displaced by the Legion of Dusk. So we can see here that the Legion of Dusk, the vampires, have their own continent, and the people that they sort of banned from their continent were the pirates. So now the Sun Empire is sort of doing the same to the merfolk. So the pirates and the merfolk should be friends, but they are not. And they are eager for vengeance. So we can see that the Brazen Coalition really wants to attack the vampires, and we can see it in this art as well, very well. We have Direfleet Interloper from John Severin Brastel. Is a 2/2 with Menace for 4 mana. And then you're like, why? But this is the main mechanic of Ixalan, which is Explore, which is something where you may reveal the top card of your library, so for your opponent as well. Put a card into your hand if it's a land, so that would be really strong. But otherwise, put a +1 counter on that creature, and then put the card, you have to put the card. Yeah, then put the card back, or put it into your graveyard, so you can sort of see this as a surveil. Plus, if it's a land, you may draw it. And if it's not, you get a +1 counter. So it's an extra surveil, and it therefore mostly costs a little extra. So you don't get a lot back for this 4 mana investment, other than, well, Explore and a 2/2. Here we have a very strong common, which were definitely in white. It's Territorial Hammer Skull, and we can see sort of the, well, white can be aggressive thing that was not in the culture of the Sun Empire, but we see it here in the dinosaurs. Maybe they don't play along with that. Whenever it attacks, tap target creature an opponent controls. From the eyes up, it's wild bone and stubbornness in its brain then probably. But we can see that it is at least territorial, and it won't let go of its territory very soon. Okay, we have Desperate Castaways, another pirate card where we see another 3 people sort of standing on the beach. It cannot attack alone. So this is the sort of, I need other pirates around me for pirates. But this time it's just a 2/3 that can't attack unless you control the an artifact in this case. So they are desperate, so they can attack if they see treasure. A pirate crew without a ship is a crew that will do anything to get one. Oh, it's not a treasure that they are so desperate for. They are desperate for a ship. I think that's more beautiful anyways. So I like that. We have Spike-tailed Ceratops from Lias Lasahido. Lias. And this one can not only just attack as a 4/4, but it can also block another additional creature. The conquistadors surrounded the dinosaur only to find that it had outflanked them. So they were running around it, one in the back, one in the front, but apparently it had a tail. Kitesail Freebooter, which is a card that comes in as a 1/2 with flying, so a better vampire, because this one forces your opponent to reveal their hand, and you may choose a non-creature, non-land. So like in this set, an artifact, enchantment, or sorcery or instant, I think. And then exile it until the freebooter leaves the battlefield. So you can attack with this if your opponent definitely does not have flyers, but otherwise you will usually keep it back. And well, use this as a little bit of a defender, but otherwise just as something like a dress. That is also worse. But I don't know, it was very popular, and I think that's funny, because duress really is not. We have Raptor Hatchling, a baby dinosaur from Evan Amundsen. And this works with the dinosaur token that we have not seen yet, where it has Enrage. When it is dealt damage, it may die, but because it's 1/1. Created a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample, and then I had always hoped that I could grow this and use this multiple times, but never really did it. Every little hatchling has a parent's claws to guard it. Is a saying? How is that a saying? Every little hatchling has a parent's claw to guard it. Well, apparently the Sun Empire really liked their parents. That's what I get out of that. We have another version of Adanto Vanguard, which we have seen before. And then from Jonathan Kuo, we have Rampaging Ferocidon as our rare, our first non-Merfolk rare, which this is a dinosaur that just ate a Theratops, where we know that it can only be attacked from the sides. What this does, it's a 3 mana 3/3 with Menace, which is insane. Well, not really because it breaks the game, but it's insane because that is already good stats. And better than anything we've seen before, I think. Like in stats in red and before this set, of course. Like you can really see that bears and stuff have become better. Then players can't gain life, so that's good in an aggressive deck. And then whenever a creature enters the battlefield, the Ferocidon deals 1 damage to the creature's controller. So also for yourself, but you won't care about that because you are red. Then it says, all raptors are aggressive, but Ferocidons seem to enjoy their prey's pain, which makes the art even more devastating, I think. And well, I have a lot of memories from watching Pro Tours where people did play this card a lot in their aggressive decks, and I liked those games because they were finishing soon. Not because I don't like watching the game and I wanted to finish soon, but mostly because, well, I like to see a lot of different games, and well, red helps us with that. So even if you don't like them being the strong color, you like other colors, you like to play crazy stuff, then you should still appreciate what red does for the format, I think. That's my belief, and I am a vampire, so you shall listen to my belief. It's what the Ixalan vampires would have said. For our next pack, I shall again not look at the land because we have seen those before, and we have looked at them very well. We have another new token where we see another sort of well, we see that they all have a keyword up till now. The vampire one has lifelink, showing us that, well, they care for the longevity of life and not attacking and not protecting their own creatures. They like to expand them and get more life for themselves, sort of the, well, the vampire way, you could say. And talking about vampires, we have from Youngjae Choi, we have Mark of the Vampire, which I have seen different kinds of art for, I believe. So what it does, it enchants a creature, gives it lifelink, which the vampires of course value, and +2/+2, but it's for 4 mana, so that's a lot. Through your sacrifice of self, you become holy. Through your strength, all will be saved. So it's the Mark of the Vampire, and they are telling this to a new vampire that they should, well, fight for the cause and should suffer for that same cause. We have another copy of Ixalan Keeper, Ixali's Keeper, so the keeper of the Verdant God, which we have seen before. We have then Sure Strike, which I like a lot, from Izzy with the art. And Izzy makes a lot of cool art. And here we see two people who are aiming their guns or weapons at each other, and I like that. Like, it's a trope, but well, it's a good trope, I think. What it does, it gives your creature +3/+0 and Verse Strike, and you don't care about the toughness here. You want to go for the sure kill with the First Strike and kill your opponent before they kill you. That's mostly what it does. Everyone has a weak spot, and you are going for that sure strike. And if you do not get it, you are kind of boned. We have another Siren here from Chris Rellis. Another 1/2 flying, which we have seen a lot of. So the skies are really, well, flocked up, sort of. When it ends the battlefield, it explores. We have seen this before. And I think it's thematic for a lookout. And we do also see it flying, or them flying with some dinosaur birds, where maybe they think the siren is their mom, because they play like that. They play like that. We have the person from Swashbuckling, or so it seems, from Youngjae Choi again, so that might be the case. It's a dude that cannot block. It's headstrong brutes. They are used for attacking, and they are not afraid to admit it. It has menace as long as you control another pirate. So this is definitely the one that we were talking about, where it needs another pirate to become stronger. And this one gives it menace, because that's the vampire thing to do. The pirate thing to do, sorry. I'm sorry. Watch your backs, keep your blades at hand, and let the orc go first. Oh, okay. Well, so they are with multiple pirates, and the orc is, well, being let loose, and that is why it goes in with a lot more aggression. Maybe it wants to impress its captain, and that is why it goes in so strongly. We have our second color for the Sun Empire from Sarah Winters, and this one is the Kinjali's color, so the sort of white sun. We have seen the green one before. This is a 1 mana 0/3 that makes dinosaurs 1 cheaper, which is really strong and has been played a lot. The people of the Sun Empire worship the sun in 3 aspects, so the other ones start the same in the flavor. Kinjali is the awakening sun, who created humans from clay and bathed them in the sun's warmth. Okay, so the creating sun, you could say. You should say. We have Stormfleet Pyromancer, a 5 mana pirate human wizard from Kieran Yenner. This one has raid, and when you raid, this dude deals 2 damage to target creature or player. So a 3/2 and a shock, which would be worth 4 mana, but you pay an extra mana because it's 2 in 1, and you do need to get raid. So that makes it really bad, but we can see that multitasking is really a bad thing for most cards. We have another land destruction, our second one, which does cost 5 mana this time, from Yong Hao Han. It's Spreading Rot. Destroy target land. Its controller loses 2 life. So you could have made a red-black land destruction deck. What is this foul presence that defies the sun's clearing rays, says Ixalan. So Ixalan, we have seen them a lot. Spreading Rot, they don't like it because they like the sun to go through, and this one gives a lot of smoke that doesn't let the sun through. We have Raptor Companion, a 2 mana 3/1 from Slawomir Maniak, and it is mostly used for the flavor, to show us that yes, the humans and dinosaurs do work together, but not that well. A raptor will follow any order as long as that order is hunt, kill, or go for the guts. So they do listen, but they don't really do what you say they should do. We have Gobbled Wings from Kev Walker, which is a 2 mana equipment that gives your creature flying if you equip it for 1, so that is okay. Flotsam held together by optimism. And you do need a lot of optimism if you want to let a dinosaur fly with this kite. So I do agree. We have here from Adrian Markzuk an elaborate fire cannon, which is to say that it probably works, but they have gone through a lot of hoops to make this. It doesn't untap during your untap step, so that is elaborate. And then for 4 mana, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player, which is the cannon part. And how do you untap it? At the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard a card and untap the boy. It does hit creatures and players, so it is really, well, a shock for 4 mana. But, well, no, you need to pay 4 mana, but you could use it multiple times if you have the mana for it. So in the late game, it might be a finisher. Otherwise, you probably will not use this. We have Drover of the Mighty, a 2 mana human druid from Eric Deschamps. Here it is. It has +2/+2 as long as you control a dinosaur. So now we have seen the whole set and sort of seen that, well, the dinosaur people do not really give keywords, they just give strength. And they add mana of any color, because you need ramp in these dinosaur decks. I do not lead, they do not follow. We work together. Okay. So this might become a 2 mana 3/3. Then it's a really strong mana dork, and otherwise it's a really, well, pretty bad one. It does fix your colors. We have, which I like, from Greg Opolinski, the Dead Eye Plunderers, which is a 3/3 pirate for 5 mana, but it gets +1/+1 for each artifact, so probably treasures you control, maybe the elaborate cannon. Then for 4 mana you may create a treasure token, and that's it. Okay, so you might use it as ramp, but you probably use it to give this one another strength. And this is something that you can probably reliably in the late game do twice, probably per turn. And then it becomes really like pump it for 2 every turn, and it grows and it grows and it grows. And that is dangerous. Keep your friends close and your enemies within range of your crossbow or cannon or elaborate cannon. Is what it says. And nothing about treasure, which is a shame. But as our rare, we have our third rare tribe, which is pirates. From Eric Deschamps again, is Dreamcaller Siren, a 4 mana flash flying 3/3, and it can block only creatures with flying. When it ends the battlefield, if you control another pirate, so works together with pirates again, tap up to 2 target non-land permanent. So we see that the sirens really have the purpose of, well, distracting their opponents, kind of like Jace does. So we see that the pirates really like deception like this, and that is what sort of the blue color stands for these pirates. It cannot block ground creatures, which is, I think, legit for a 4 mana 3/3 flying flash creature. But you can shoot out one of these 1/2 flyers that dare to attack you when you have 4 mana open. But really, that is really niche. I think it's a cool card, mostly because, well, flash and tapping creatures work together really well to get your last pieces of damage in. And if you can do that at turn 4, then you have a really fast deck. So that's what the pirates want to do. And that is the last pack before our first break. So I will leave you alone with the screaming bird pirate, and I will be back in 5 minutes, and I hope you get some coffee too. Hello. I have the coffee. Delicious. And I am ready for 3 packs in a row. We did 4 just now. So breaks will be intensifying. These go so easily. Still amazed. I am amazed. And I am amazed. Woo. We have a wait. A treasure token, which we have seen before, but this one has different art. We got 2 types of treasure tokens, probably because they expected us to have a lot of these. And then we have something interesting, which is not a land, but you can mark this card to be any double-faced card in your library or hand. Well, that is very strong. No, you need to have it in your library or hand, and it is sort of the solution, the old solution for the double-faced cards. Cool. I think these are clunky, but we still use them. I have never used them. I wonder if people really like those cards. We have from Eric the Shams, who we have seen a lot in this set already. It's Deadeye Tormentor. Tormentor. It's a 3-mana 2/2 with raid, and when you raid, target opponent discards a card. There are people screaming outside. Or singing. Not sure. Maybe both. Despite their noble heritage, the pirates of Deadeye Fleet are known for their underhanded tactics and despicable trickery. Again, with the despicable words and stuff. That does sound preposterous, but it's because they stem from the vampire lords, I think. But yeah, they now are not that kind anymore. We have Sure Strike, which we have seen before from Izzy. And then we have Ravenous Daggertooth from Jakub Kasper, which is the first almost usable enraged creature, while the other one was usable, but it would never survive damage. In this case, you could deal 1 damage to it every time, and then it would give you 2 life. So that is something, and it is something that the Green Sun likes to do. A Daggertooth Triumphant... What? Oh, a Daggertooth's Triumphant Roar makes all the sounds of the jungle life fall silent. Okay, so it sort of gives you life because it has just hunted something down, but maybe it didn't really kill it. But it probably did, because what deals 1 damage and has more than 4 toughness and attacks into a 3/2? Nothing. Nothing, I tell you. No, well, it could be, but that is a really fringe case. So the flavor text here probably works. And let's not kill the writer here. We have John Stanko for Pirate's Cutlass, which is why I said kill. Not really because I am a murderous myself, but this is a vampire equipment, and vampires work together with artifacts. The fun thing here is that, for example, the Desperate Crew does work with the Pirate's Cutlass as well. So they are not really looking for a boat in this case, but just a sword, and they are desperate for it. But okay, when it ends the battlefield, you may attach it to target pirate, and it gets +2/+1, and then you may equip it for 2 again. Not too harsh of a cost, the 2 mana, but well, we need to have a slight break here. Oh, now it focuses really well. Really. You can't show that. But you would usually like to use it as a 3 mana +2/+1 for one creature, and then maybe have some upside later. I think that is the biggest part about this. Does it refocus? No. Do you like to be in the light, or is it? You can sit there. That's okay. But okay, we have from Winona Nelson, who we have just done an episode on Anointed Deacon, which fits into her themes of bloodlust and well, handsome vampire people. And the interesting thing here is that I read in an interview from her that this person is her husband, who is also an artist. What the card does is it's a 5 mana 3/3, which is not yet good, but then at the beginning of combat on your turn you may have target vampire get +2/+0 until end of turn, and that makes it a pretty good lord to have one vampire at a time go in with 2 extra power. The flavor text says, inspiration is red as rubies, flowing like honeyed wine. So he just sees this as just inspiration, I guess. Then we have Stormfleet Pyromancer again, which we have seen already. Siren's Ruse, which we have also seen already. Okay. And then we have Jungle Delver, a new Merfolk. Right here. We have some technical issues. And I can't reach because there are cables in the way. But okay. It's just a 1/1 for 1 mana, but then for 4 mana you can grow it every time. So it's another one of these creatures where you can grow it. And then it becomes almost as good as the 5 mana one, the pirate. But it of course does not give you treasure, so you need to get the 4 mana yourself. There's no power too great to be used in the defense of our ancestral lands. So they are ready to sacrifice the 4 mana payment every time. We have Raptor Companion, and we will see more doubles as we go on. Steadfast Armasaur, which is a 4 mana dinosaur with another tail, where we have seen 5 now, I think. It's a 4 mana 2/3 with Vigilance. It deals damage equal to its toughness to target creature blocking or blocked by it. So we see a theme here that they are all about dealing with combat, the tail creatures. But you of course have to tap it, and you need to attack with it first, and that is why it has Vigilance, of course. Then it says, like the mighty Armasaur, we will defend against all who invade our shores, says Izama again. So I really wonder who this is. I don't remember. But, which I find funny, we have another card from Winona Nelson, where we have already gone into the flavor and stuff and into the art. But what it does is it returns a pirate card from your graveyard. And then, so you need to do the pirate thing first. Then the same for vampire, dinosaur, and merfolk. So all the tribes can be resurrected from your graveyard. But, well, vampire is doable, pirate is doable, but then the other colors need you to be in other colors than black. So that's a little bit hard to do. But it's fun to find cards from Winona Nelson now and again. To see their art again. And like, I said in the analysis video in the artist spotlight, I really like about this card that, well, it's one of the few cards where we do not see the classic Winona colors, and it really shows us that this is a grim moment, a sad moment where we disrespect death, and we don't like that. And I think it's cool as well, like I said then as well, that she is resurrecting these people with open arms instead of forcing them to be resurrected. And we sort of see it being turned around to something like, hey, we can all be friends in the afterlife. We have, from Josh Haas, Deadeye Quartermaster, who is another pirate. It's a 4-mana 2/2. When it ends the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or vehicle card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. It is a card that lets you look for, I would say an equipment or a vehicle, really niche actually. But it's still a shooter, I guess. And a 2/2, so it's okay, but you need it to be in a pirate and equipment or vehicle deck. Welcome aboard, mate. You're going to need this ship. She just gives the ship to a new matey. That's it's a rich schooner. Is that how you say that? Schooner. It's a 3-mana 4/3, which seems impressive, but you need another creature with 1 power total to crew it. The pirates had left the open sea behind, but they were still in their element. Reckless adventure. Okay. So they were going into the rivers, but now they needed like a schooner instead of a big ship. So they needed like a ship that can traverse the rivers instead of the seas. And we can see that this is a smaller ship as well, as that the hull is really high up. It's only a little bit in the water. So that's cool. And then our rare is a dragon, but not one that you would expect. It's Dragon Skull Summit. What it does, it's a Rakdos, so piratey land. When it ends the battlefield, it enters tapped unless you control a swamp or mountain. Really good. Really, really good, actually. The flavor says, when the planeswalker Engrath called dinosaurs dragons, the name stuck in certain pirate circles. Oh, okay. So he was already respected when he came into the world. Like, whoa, a big cow guy. How can this be? And the pirates were like, oh, you're our captain now. And then they said, hey, you used that word. Oh, that's a dragon. So now you can be our dictionary man as well. That's how that conversation went, and it is canon now. But I like this. I will use this in my Sunshine deck. Definitely. So that is useful. Let's go into a pack that features Engrath on the front to stay in the theme. Because of course, as a lore channel, we should stay in theme if at all possible. We have some more doubles to go first. We have, let's put this back here, Shining Aerosol, which we have seen as our second card of these unpackings. And actually our first card, which is Nest Robber. And then a new card, Fathom Fleet Cutthroat, which is a 4-mana 3/3, which is okay. It enters destroy target creature an opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. So that's a little bit harsh for a card without flash. It was a bad evening for you, mate. Note. Oh, now. Yeah, I thought note. That's high up. But these pirates were nobles once. Now it's chow time for the sharks. What a bad punchline. That's a really bad punchline. But okay, the cutthroat does not really cut throats. It mostly throws overboard. Sunrise Seeker, a 5-mana human scout from Philip Berberon. It says Vigilance, so you don't have to tap this while attacking. And why does it not have to tap? Because it has the sun in its face, something like that. And then it explores, so every tribe can explore is mostly what this says. We have from John Stanko, Depths of Desire, a sort of piratey vibe, buckets full of gold, lungs full of brine. So you do have the gold, but you will die. Return target creature to its owner's hand, so it will not really die. Why are these blink cards always so dramatic? And then you create a treasure because you did get the gold from these people dying. We have a Merfolk, River Herald's Boon from Alex Konstad. Konstad is what it says. A 2-mana instant, which is the boon of the River Heralds. Is this instant actually the frog or is it the weapon? I choose to believe it's the frog. Put a +1 counter on target creature. Oh, and a +1 counter on up to 1 target Merfolk. Oh, so the +1 counter is the frog. And then the spear is for the Merfolk. We are kin to the trees and their strength is our own. Okay. So they like rivers, but they are green, so they also like trees. Is what this says. Pirate's Prize from Daruchenko Alexander is a 4-mana sorcery, so it's slow. But you may draw 2 cards, which is okay rate. And create a treasure, so it eventually, well, pays you back 1 mana of it. And then it becomes a really good rate. Nothing warms the heart like plunder. It really doesn't. We have, from Izzy, a strange man standing in front of 2 vampires who want to pass. Gilded Sentinel. The River Heralds fight to keep all others from reaching the Golden City. The city has its own defense. It doesn't need them to defend its riches. No, but Izzy made this Gilded Sentinel, and it is interesting that the previous Ixalan people really had all these mechanical contraptions. I made a tweet earlier today about this same concept, where it's really interesting to look at the history of a plane that we do not see, because it is strewn about there, and it might be interesting to see if we actually get to go into that history in later sets. We have from Jonathan Kuo, so what it says, solitude and starvation are brutal punishments, but even worse is all that time to think. We can see that this person is really going crazy. And logical, because being alone sucks. We have Emergent Growth, which gives +5/+5 and the Sword of Taunt. Of course, in Magic that's not possible, so a creature needs to block the creature that you use this growth on. Why is that actually? Well, it's because they force them to block because they picked up their boat. By accepting my smallness, I am vast. So by accepting you are small, you are tall. Did you know that? I didn't. We have Air Elemental from Thomas Jedrzejek, which is interesting. We have seen Air Elemental a lot of times before, and it's a really old card, but it keeps coming back. So apparently a 5-mana 4/4 with flying is a good rate, but we also see more expensive versions of this, I would say. Yeah, so I think that's interesting. The flavor says, as the ship approached, the Jade Totem rose high overhead. Power rippled. Eyes of stone glowed and Correct. Out hissed a breath of the world, and the windstorm came alive. That's beautifully poetic, actually. And shows us that this air elemental is on the side of the merfolk, which is also interesting to me. Because it's such an old dude. Like, he has been in so many sets before. That is really interesting to me. That the merfolk have... Well, they have this old mechanical protector thing of Jade, but they also have these old elementals fighting with them. And here's a cool card called Snapping Sailback, which has flash and is from Dan Scott. I like to use this one a lot. What it does. Sorry. What it does. It's a 5 mana 4/4 with flash, which is already sort of a kill spell most of the time, and we can see that it is hunting for a fish here, which is funny because it's a huge shark dinosaur. And then it has Enrage, put a +1 counter on it, so it grows and grows and grows. So it comes in, defeats a small creature, grows into a 5/5, and if your opponent can't battle with it, then well, might be game over almost. Lurking beneath the murky waters of Ixalan's rivers, sailbacks can rip a meal off the shore in the blink of an eye. So it's a really dangerous crocodile, and crocodiles are already dangerous, but imagine a crocodile being as fast as the blink of an eye before they kill you. That is really scary. We have here from Tommy Arnold our rare, which is Bishop of Rebirth. So the vampires of course die and then they are rebirthed, resurrected. What it says, it's a 5 mana 3/4 with vigilance, which is fine. Might get in once even. When it attacks, well, extra once because you want to attack with it, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less, which is interesting. That's the sort of sun god thing, but the vampires don't like sun. From your graveyard to the battlefield, which is strong. And most vampires are kind of that low cost, so that is a strong thing to do. In the death of the foe lies the resurrection of the faithful. So in the death of the foe, there comes blood out of them, and they can use this to resurrect one of their friends. I like this card. And it's really flavorful, well made, well designed. And I think it's a cool flavor that the vampires sort of get to resurrect their friends over and over in battle, and that is the way they fight. That's a cool thing. So, last pack before the next break features our golem friend from the forgery. And let's hear it. Oh no, that's the drawback of these packs being so easy to open. They also easily well, get hurt in the process. But of course the wrappers are not that, the wrappers of the packs are not that important. So let's put this in the rare spot. We have some doubles I already see, and then we have our Rage Enabler, the Resident Rage Enabler Dual Shot. It's a 1 mana instant, deal 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. So kill some vampires maybe, but also enable Enrage, of which we have only seen the gain to life one up to now. Through me, the rage of Tilemali burns twice as bright. Dual shot, so it burns twice as bright, but mostly it just splits into 2. But okay, let them think what they want to think. We have white removal again, sort of. It's Slash of Talents. Not talent, but talents, claws. 1 mana, instant, deal 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. So sort of the white drawback of, well, having to do things in combat at all. The Amber Sun invokes with fury, gazing on foes, that gather like ants, invading our home. It's not their home. We are ready. Blades and claws strike as one, from Huatli, who is poetical. We can see that. We have Jade Guardian from Chris Seaman, who is apparently also a merfolk, as he is a seaman. 4 mana, 2/2 with hexproof, so sort of the card that you want to make stronger. It enters, put a +1 counter on target merfolk you control. So could be himself, could become a 3/3 with hexproof, which is not the most usable for 4 mana. The River Heralds believe that Jade gives weight to their magic. Oh. Okay, weight. So it's sort of strengthening them, but mostly because it makes their magic more real. Maybe that is what this means. And they can use their magic to keep up these Jade's things, shields, and it makes them, well, it protects them that way. So that is cool. We have Shorekeeper, a 0/3 from Tang, which is a trilobite, the sort of creepy ancient fish dudes. And that is funny because these did live with the dinosaurs. So from Tang again, it's a 0/3 for 1 mana, and for 8 mana again with the harsh cost, and you have to sacrifice the dude. You may draw 3 cards. Over their long life spans, the larger trilobites accumulate vast treasure troves in their guts. Ugh. And how this works is they let you draw 3 cards, and that is the treasure. So it's not always knowledge, it's also sometimes riches or something like that, drawing cards. One with the Wind is a merfolk that flies. So we have seen flying pirates, dinosaurs, not the humans yet. Merfolk now, and well, all the tribes and vampires. One with the Wind. Oh, and pirates, sirens then. Oh, and the Kitesails, so the pirates themselves also. A 2 mana enchantment, enchant creature. It gets +2/+2 and flying, which is a nice rate for 2 mana, I would say. River and sea, jungle and sky. When water flows freely between the 2 halves of the world. We are creatures of the water, but also of the sky, is what I want to say. Shaper are the flying merfolk, I would say. So they sort of help the merfolk fly by giving them wings, apparently, which is impressive, just growing a creature wings like that. We have Colossal Dreadmall from Jesper Ising, which has been a real home run, and funny that it returned in the Ixalan sets. 6 mana, 6/6 with trample, so a chunky boy. We need those, and we can see that the boy wants to eat a ship, and we see people running from the ship in true Jesper Ising fashion. If you feel the ground quake, run. If you hear the bellows, flee. If you see its teeth, it's too late. But you might still run. Give yourself a little bit more time to live against this 6/6 that is 6 times as big as a human apparently, and can eat ships that you are on. And we can see the drawback of the pirates now being in these smaller ships. We have from Svetlin Velenov the Angrath boy himself in this sorcery. Hijack, a 3 mana sorcery, gain control of target artifact or creature. What Angrath does, sort of hijacking, well, people, but also their wagons or ships maybe. Untap it, it gains haste. Trapped on Ixalan, the Planeswalker Angrath is the only Minotaur sailing the seas. No matter how many ships he captures, he cannot break free. Sort of loose kind of flavor, but we see that it is fun that a Minotaur is now sailing the seas And the pirates sort of accept him like that because they are sort of outcasts as well. And they don't know what is out in the world, so they just assume that this is something that they had not explored yet, the land of Minotaurs. We have a 5-mana sorcery that destroys a creature. You can guess which color it is. From Winona Nelson again. First Winona Nelson art in this Unpacking. 5-mana destroy a creature, create 2 treasures. So you get sort of 2 mana back. For a price, the fleeting city of High and Dry offers all the amenities a pirate could want: rest, recreation, and revenge by paying for a contract. So for a price, but you get 2 mana back. Apparently you get to keep the spoils of this contract killing, which is a good deal, I would say. We have the less famous Chupacabra, who is a little bit angry about not being the cool one, from Tongue again. It says YW Tongue, but I always just say Tongue of Tang. Don't know. This one is a little bit angry. We can see that as well. Shadow birthed it. The moon gave it eyes. And the jungle gave it teeth. But it was death that taught it cruelty. Beautiful words, and we don't know what it means until we slowly unpack the boy. Whenever a creature you control explores, so it works with explore, it's a green-black archetype, you get to give a creature -2 from your opponent. So pretty good, I would say, because that is worth about 2 mana, and adding this onto the 1.5 mana that explore costs, that is a great addition to something that you can probably do a lot of times in this way, and you can kill a lot of creatures. So I don't know why it is less popular than the Chupacabra. Well, it is instant, of course. Destroy target attacking creature is a white thing, from Ryan Alexander Lee. 5 mana, Bright Reprisal. A little bit steep for this kind of effect, I would say, but you also draw a card, which is something white doesn't do at all, or didn't do at all. Now it does. So, but then this was really special. Vampires know blood and the systems that carry it, and they know exactly where to strike to set it free. Ooh, seems painful. Apparently, we don't mind dinosaurs dying. We have seen 2 very cruel examples of this. From Kieran Jenner, we have Vine Shaper Mystic. This Mystic knows all about vines and making videos, short videos. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1 counter on each of up to 2 target merfolk you control. It's a 1/3 as well, but it makes an extra 2/2, so it's 3/5 of stats. Well, but it does need 2 other merfolk, so you need to be fast, but then you can make a 3/5 out of stats, which is a lot for 3 mana. She has never touched a loam, yet the tapestries she weaves are vast and beautiful. Okay, it does seem beautiful, so I agree with Kieran's art here. And ooh, Chris Run, our first mythic here, is Fresca Relic Seeker, a 6 mana planeswalker. So she has also come here to flirt with Jace. Some people don't like that, I know that. But what she does is create a pirate with Menace, so the token that we saw before. And she gets a +2, which makes her really chunky, because then she already has 8 loyalty. So let's look at her -3 that she can use twice if you want, and protect her. Which says destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment, create a treasure token, and that's it. But that is really strong, because you create a treasure token, you make more mana, you get mana back. So you might see her as a 6 mana kill 2 creatures and gain 2 mana back, and that is pretty strong. It's just a little bit slow, so you probably also just want to let her enter and protect herself. But if it is a Planeswalker, be way too aggressive, because the last one becomes 1, the -10. Your opponent will not want to see you use that. And lovely to have her here, and I think I will actually do a deep dive on Vraska. I think that will be a cool thing to do. And let's keep this in shot for our second break. And let me chill with my cat for a little bit and get your coffee, of course. So be right back. Man, that was a good pull. And I hope you get your coffee. I did. Well, still had my previous one. But yeah, that's a great pull. And well, it should... I was just thinking about this a little bit. But this should be a really great deep dive. Because Vraska has so much history. And she has so much potential later on that, yeah, whoa. Yeah, that should be really cool to make and really extensive. And, well, there are some really big projects right now, like Anya already is a really big character to make a deep dive about. But Vraska is just so much more because she's a planeswalker, basically. But so yeah, that should be really cool. And I will be looking forward to making that once I have some more projects finished, because, well, let's be upfront that we do need to finish the stuff that we begin, and that is sometimes hard to do. But yeah, let's open our next pack then, and sit down with this excitement for a little bit. And well, while we think about what we could do with this, let's continue with this next pack here. So, do we have new tokens? Nope. Nope. No new tokens. Let's put Vraska back in her seat and look at our next comments. We have, which is hard to do always after you've done something cool or pulled something cool. We have Bishop's Soldier, who is a 2-mana 2/2 with lifelink, so a basic ass vampire. But vampires, the noble class of the old Terrazon, are guided by their dual loyalties to Church and Crown. So a little bit of flavor about the vampires, but mostly that they are religious and they have a kingdom. But it's still something. Yeah, it doesn't say too much, but they want to keep the other world sort of secret. But it also doesn't really hype us to see something like a world with a king and a crown. We know that. That's just England. And the church. That's just England still. So, yeah. It is something, but it's not the most exciting piece of flavor that we have seen in our lives. We have Shaper's Apprentice, which we have seen before. But what we have not seen before is March of the Drowned. But what it does is it lets you return a pirate and another creature to your hand, both of them, for 1 mana. But two cards into your hand, back into your hand for 1 mana is really strong, but you probably won't use this on turn 1. But still, in a pirate deck, this is big value. You want to attack with your pirates, you want to rebuild your deck again, and you want to enable raid again. So the enter the battlefield things with this, that is a lot of things you can do with this. And I like in the art that we see one sort of pirate in the front and then one another creature in the back, waiting to be returned from drowning, because it doesn't like drowning, I think. We have 3 cards that we have seen already: New Horizons, Headstrong Brute, and Kinjali's Scholar, the second son. Sort of, not really the second son from Amonkhet, but you know what I mean. And then we have a new one, an Explorer from Shreya Shetty, Tashana's Wayfinder. A 3-mana 2/2 that explores. And that's basically it. But we can also see that they are sort of, well, putting their finger on a statue's head and then saying, hey, maybe we should be here. Maybe it's Vraska that has been killing some people. There's always another way. So maybe they are saying, let's not go there. Maybe look for another way, because this person did not end up well. We have from Craig J. Sparing, Encampment Keeper, which is a dog, a hound for 1 mana. Is a 1/1 with First Strike. So not good yet, but could attack in the first turn already like this. But then for 8 mana, you may sacrifice it and give all creatures you control +2/+2 until end of turn. So that's a really expensive part about this doggy. But it should be that you can make this stronger and you can then use it a little bit in your own game and then use it later to pump your team. Paladins of the Sanctum Seeker order are an adventurous lot. Venturing into the wilds with monstrous mastiffs at their side. I don't think... so these are like vampires then? That use dogs? Or are these dinosaur people? Sanctum Seeker. I think that sounds like vampires then. But weird that they use dogs. But maybe not weird because they are still a kingdom with a crown and a church. We have seen this one before. The dinosaur airplane. And then we go into the next fight spell from Lucas Graciano, which is the simple yet effective word of pounce. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. A dinosaur pouncing on you, you will probably not survive. The drive to hunt and feed is raw. Raw. Instinct for dinosaurs. Oh, there was an end to the sentence. The trick is simply to channel it in the right direction. So she just points and then the dinosaur goes. That's all you have to do to tame a dinosaur. Now you know. We have already seen Steadfast Armasaur. We have not yet seen Favorable Winds, which is a sort of Lord enchantment for 2 mana, 1 and a blue for flying creatures, which is good. And you probably want to use this with a lot of the pirates that fly. We have seen the merfolk that fly, so maybe a flying merfolk deck that you can use. A little bit too niche, I would say. So maybe keep it to the well, maybe a blue-white archetype that you could use, but there are not that many. Well, there are some good white flyers in the dinosaur dudes. So yeah, maybe use them in blue-white. Like Ribbons of Wind and Wisdom, the Kowaddles fly, twisting mystery into truth, shaping the clouds to suit their unscrutable will, says Watley, who does not realize that mystery can still be truth. We have from Izzy, vampires attacking a raging swordtooth, but they are flinging one of the vampires into the air to probably eat them. It's a 5 mana 5/5, so chunky boy already. It has trample, making it really effective. And then when it ends the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each other creature. So definitely destroying a lot of vampires, but then also working with the red, green, and rage archetype. So that is a cool design and works really well. Definitely if you can gain some value from the enraged stuff that you have. Carnivorous Dinosaurs developed a taste for undead flesh. Ooh, vampires. Tracking the vampires to the scent of blood and on their teeth. But they do also smell like death, don't they? But okay. Still a fun card, I would say. And speaking about vampires, we have from Svetlin Velenov, the Legion's Landing, which is a good card for vampires, definitely. And what it does, it enters, gives you a 1/1 for 1 mana, that's okay. But then when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may transform Legion's Landing. So this is the moment where the vampires enter Ixalan, the continent of Ixalan. I claim this. They created Ardonto the First Fort, which is a land, a legendary land, which can still create 1 white mana, but can also for 3 mana create vampire tokens, and that is value that you can use over and over. So this is a good, well, just white weenie creature deck. If you can grow your all your tokens stronger, or if you double them, or something like that, that is really strong. And otherwise, in vampires, it becomes really, really strong, because then you want these 1/1 vampires. So then it becomes really, really strong. And I think it could be cool to do a deep dive on vampires on Ixalan as well. Because, like I said, they have a lot of history. But the history is a little bit scattered. But it is there. There are more stories than the ones from the Ixalan main line. So, yeah, should be interesting maybe. Let's open a pack with the vampire on front of it. That goes so easily. Man, man, man. We have another sun aspect, last sun aspect, which we still needed. Which is the Red Sun, Tilonali, and this one is not a keeper or a priest or something. It's a knight. Whenever it attacks, if you control a dinosaur, this knight gets +1/+1, so it becomes a 3/3. But the people, like the other ones say, worship 3 suns. Tilonali is the flaming sun, associated with ferocity, fire, and passion. And we have gone into these 3 suns already on the video about Sakama. So if you'd like to know more about the suns and a little bit more in-depth stuff, I would recommend that video. It came out pretty well. Queen's Commission is a 3-mana sorcery that lets you create 2 vampires. So 5 mana lets you create 3 vampires. 3 mana lets you create 2. The flavor says, let the blood of the impure flow through you. Only the blessings of the Golden City will purge its acrid taste from your mouth. So that's why the vampires want to go into the Golden City. They want, well, to stop eating blood. They don't really like this part about them. And that's very interesting, actually. That there are vampires that don't like to eat blood. Skullduggery. A really nice combat spell, I would say. Nicer than you would think. So you get a +1. Opponent creatures gets a -1 until end of turn. And it's an instant for just 1 mana. So that is a blowout. An easy blowout as well. They are so much more willing to parlay, which is a vampire word, once they are hanging from a boom. A boom? By the ankle. Okay, boom, what boom? What's a boom? I don't know. But they are upside down, they like to talk. And they don't like to talk when they are not upside down. That is basically the stretching of this wording. We have another enabler for Enrage. Before we saw Jewel Shot, which was also 1 mana. Here we have from Igor Kierfluk a 1 mana red Ryle, which is a sort of tick on the side of a dinosaur's head that lets you deal 1 damage to the creature, and it gains trample on the end of turn, which a dinosaur really likes. And then you may draw a card, so it also cycles through, which makes it a little bit better. The enormous can still be at the mercy of the small, where it's not really at the mercy. You should use this to enable the enormous. Siren Lookout we have already seen. And then Crash the Ramparts is another grow spell, but this time with +3/+3 and trample. So not really the Merfolk way of giving something flying to protect it and let it get in, but no, big chunky trample. The legions, conquistadors could endure Ixalan's sun. Their forts could withstand a charging Ceratops, but nothing can stop a Ceratops strengthened by the sun. So when the sun and the dinosaurs work together, there's nothing that can stop them. We have Jade Guardian, which we have already seen before, and then Unfriendly Fire, which is a really clunky 4 damage 5 mana instant, but it does do a good job at the unfriendly. So where the dinosaur from the seas or from the rivers in the blink of an eye killed like a fish, the pirates escalate in the blink of an eye into burning each other's ships down with unfriendly fire. Of course, a joke on being friendly fire, but now it's unfriendly fire. Sure. Dive Down we have already seen. And then we have another vampire thing. This time from Titus Lunter, the person who made all the cool Jace lands in the set. Dusk Legion Dreadnought. Which is another vehicle. It's a boat. A 4/6 with Vigilance is really strong, and it only costs you 2 to crew. But it does cost 5 mana itself, so that is a big drawback. And And crew 2 for vampires might be hard because you might need 2 vampire tokens to do this. But the flavor says, it loomed up over the horizon, silent and dark as a grave. So maybe this is the ship that the vampires came in, because this is a really big ship. And might be scary to see a ship so silent that almost makes no waves, apparently. Because it's dark as a grave. And it meant that for many people. Another Goblin pirate is Wily Goblin from Steve Prescott. What it does is it enters and it gives you a treasure, and it's a 1/1. But the good thing about this is that it is just 2 mana, then it gives you 1 back, and it is a sort of ramp in red. So that is mostly what you will use it for. Goblins climb and swing with ease, whether through a pirate ship's rigging or a tree's branches. Sort of, I think, signifying that these are like monkeys, and that they mean that these are monkeys. And they just couldn't make them monkeys because they needed goblins to be strong in standard, because we need goblins to be strong in standard at all times. Otherwise, some bad things will happen, apparently. It's what I heard, so don't take me up on that. We have Bellowing Aegisaur, which is a 6 mana dinosaur, which I do remember to like, but let's see. It's a 3/5, so it can defend really well. Oh, and it has Enrage, put a +1 counter on each other creature you control, so it makes all your other creatures stronger, which is why I like Merfolk, but this one sort of single-handedly makes it so that your dinosaurs can have the Merfolk vibes as well. Its roaring challenge is punctuated by the slam of its tail on the earth, rousing the herds of the plains. So really working together with the plains, really saying that this is a good card to work with white as well, because it mentions plains, and then also well, being a fun card to work with together with Enrage, I would say. So if you can use your Ryle and your Jewel Shot with this, well, that is a little bit of value for 1 mana then, all of a sudden. We have, from Jason Rainville, a beautiful art in this rare, is Tilonali's Skin Shifter, a 3 mana human shaman with haste, 0/1, so easy to kill, but it has haste, so it can attack in immediately. And then it, when it attacks, it becomes a copy of another target non-legendary attacking creature until end of turn. So it does only work with your own creatures, because you only attack with your own creatures. But then it can become one of your big dinosaurs, and then it is all of a sudden a really good 3-drop, because it is still a clone at that point, but later it can be very easily killed, especially with your own Enrage enablers. I am the ferocity of the burning sun. I am hide and feather, fang and claws. So he is a dinosaur, is what he says, which is really edgy, as we see them walking in Naruto style towards his enemy. And then we have another cool card in a foil version, which is Arcane Adaption. Looks especially cool with the eyes shining like this. Interesting, nice build around as well. Maybe something to look deeper into. And this would be a flavor win for deep dives, as the guy is diving himself. When it ends the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So sort of tribal enabler all of a sudden. And interesting to build with. So I like that I got this in foil here. Let's do a little bit of an extra break before we do the last pack. So we can load up our luck and get some more water. So that is a cool prospect to be able to, well, think about what all the things that we could do with Arcane Adaption. So that is interesting, actually. Definitely, as we look at the art of it, and well, how it is a guy diving, and we do the deep dives. So that is the most well, overlooked thing for me, actually, where maybe it could have been like a thing in our logo, but actually I like it right now. So maybe better that we have just done this right now. That we, well, know what we want. Let's see, we have some doubles, of course. Sunrise Seeker, Desperate, Castaways, both doubles. No new tokens either, by the way. And then we get into Suncrowned Hunters from Aaron Miller. A 6 mana 5/4, so mostly used as a trade monster, I would assume. But it could be a 2-for-1 because it enrages and then it deals 3 damage to target opponent. Kind of, yeah, well, not value-wise 2-for-1, but well, your opponent does want to block it because it's 5 damage otherwise, and he can probably kill it at this point, but we can see that they don't really care for their own safety. They are mostly going in for the throat. One alone is dangerous, and they are never alone. That is a funny way of saying that. Vampire's Zeal, showing that the vampires do fight for their cause, from Kabur Sixai. It's a 1 mana, another combat spell where target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And then if it's a vampire, it gets first strike as well, where it probably only cares about the +2 power. The Feast of Blood sends new life essence flowing through the vampire who partakes, manifesting as even greater strength and speed. So basically saying vampires are stronger and faster, but these people don't really like to talk about their powers in such an obvious way. Again, Prosperous Pirates, these people have gotten their treasure. Mana 3/4 comes in with 2 treasures. If you look at it this way, it sort of ramps you again, or you could see it as it only costs you 3 mana really on your turn. But you do need to get to 5 mana, but 3/4, that is real. That is why it costs like that. The Fleeting City of High and Dry hasn't yet sunk under the weight of gold, but it's not for want of trying. Okay, so they keep trying to load it up with gold, not to sink it, but well, they would prefer to keep loading it with gold, and it is a common thing for pirates on Ixalan to have their own boats and cities sink because they took too much cannons or too much treasure in this case. We have Deeproot Warrior from Slawomir Maniac, which says, "Don't block me because I will become a 3/3." And then the flavor says, "We breathe from our soul and bones to give strength to the jungle. The jungle breathes from its roots and rivers to give strength to us," saying that they are synergistic with the forests, basically. We have Siren Lookout that we have seen before, and then we have Blinding Fog, which is a 3 mana fog effect that also saves your creatures with hexproof, from Igor Kierfluk. And well, it's a sort of multiple deep dives in. Whoa, there was a card that's called Deep Dive. Why didn't I think of that before? Dive deep. Oh no. Okay, but it says, "I see you, shiny soldiers, but you can't see me because it's foggy beneath the branches." shiny soldiers. These merfolk, by the way, are not dumb, but they just use tribal words, I would assume. Paladin of the Bloodstained is a vampire knight from Bastion El Dahar. And what it says is when it ends the battlefield, you may create another 1/1. So for 4 mana, you get a 1/1 and a 3/2. And then the flavor says, closely linked to the Church of Dusk, the Paladins of Bloodstained Order are devout to the point of fanaticism. And we do not really see them fanatic at all. We see them sitting on a horse, but they become pretty crazy is what they are telling us. Then we have 3 cards that we have seen before. Gilded Sentinel, Sentinel Totem, again from the Merfolk crew, and Wily Goblin. And then we have Fiery Cannonade, which is a 3 mana, deal 2 damage to every non-pirate creature. Yep. So basically used to, as we see in the art, kill 1/1 vampires, or maybe even with a lord around. Wary of the ferocious dinosaurs, the Legion of Dusk build up the walls of their forts just in time for the pirates to burn them down. So apparently these vampires gave themselves 1 more toughness with these walls, and now the walls are being burned down anyways. And the rare for this pack is cool. It's the second land. The previous one was Rakdos. This Glacial Fortress is the Azorius one. Ships blown north in their voyage across the storm-wrecked sea become trapped in the unmelting ice. So you've just passed the storm-wrecked sea. I don't know why you went there, but now you come into the ice, which if you do take a wrong direction on the seas, you are probably doomed, is what this land says. But definitely will use this in my Azorius, in my Jeskai deck. So that is cool addition. Deep dive material. I think there are a few. So, well, not the Glacial Fortress, but one possibility that is a slight possibility is Arcane Adaption, because I think it's a cool card and there are a lot of things that we could do with it. Let's see. So a cool one could be Legion's Landing, where we sort of go into the history of vampires. Maybe that's some cool thing we could do. And a definite is Froskai Relic Seeker that we will definitely go into, because the character is just well, there's just too much written about them to not go into it now that we have drawn it. And then I want to say thank you again for 100 friends. Again, I don't think subscriber goals should be what I focus on for these streams, but yeah, I will definitely continue thinking of new goals that are more suitable to me and that I like better, to sort of motivate myself and sort of you to well, continue. I would like to thank you for watching if you are here still, because yeah, well, sticking around for such a long time, that is really cool to me. And then well, have a nice evening and hope to see you some more on the channel. Bye.